Ha, who behold, we are streaming once more. The YouTube hype train stream continues. So for the past couple of days, and also today and tomorrow, right now, we have been streaming on YouTube every day at different times, like fairly significantly different times, not just like wiggling around an hour, wiggling around like 3 hours or more, because I want to test out. Oh, well, a couple of reasons. I want to test out like what times are good for YouTube streams because I only do one a week, so I want to get as much out of it as possible. But I also want to get to talk to different groups of you that are free at different times of the day. So today is a little bit earlier than our normal time. Last time we did a little later than our regular time. And then tomorrow we're going to do even earlier than our regular time, and I'm going to try to talk about Barrow like live right after he comes out, which is going to be cool. So I'm excited for that. That will be then. And after that, I'm going to try to make the one YouTube stream a week like kind of a bigger affair, like maybe go longer and make it like a bit more of like a formal like Q&A, AMA thing. Anyway, so let me know if there's anything else further you'd want from these streams, and I can try to make that happen. I still think that YouTube streaming kind of is not as sustainable as Twitch streaming overall, and I will probably continue to only do one YouTube stream a week and 3 Twitch streams a week, like I have been doing, except for this week. But I'm still flexible about that. You know, if it's sustainable, I don't really care, like in particular which platform we're on, but it can't be both. So. Speaking of which, today we are going to stream on YouTube for like a regular 2 hours or so, and then we're going to move to Twitch for a regular 2 hours or so. There's actually kind of something special about that, so I'll describe like why we're doing it that way and what I hope to get out of that in particular. Because it's not a big thing, but it's a little content life hack for any aspiring streamers out there that you could do if you have a YouTube presence. So we'll talk about that. First, let me open this gift. I think I know what it is. Oh, there they are. 8 mutagen masses. Praise be. We can make the thing. Yeah, good. The synapse. All of you are like, what are we going to make? Oh god. Like the synapse. So the synapse has become like more different than the Amprex. Before it was like they were kind of the same and the synapse was just like worse. They've become more different. So I'm going to build the synapse. The Spectra is also building. The Spectra is not going to do great damage, but it has very, very high range with its augment. So we're going to take a look at that. I think that'll be fun to have like a laser pointer of justice. Iwaj, please don't advertise things in my chat. You're basically just taking advantage of my popularity to sell your things more easily, and that is selfish and rude. Do not do that. Not just on my channel. That's not like a rule. It's just common sense. Anyway, welcome everyone. Juhani, this just started. We just started. You are right on time. Right on time. Perfect time for me. 9:30 p.m. in South Africa. Cool. That is a great time. It's very helpful, Zed. It's really helpful to hear like where people are. Like if you say it's a good time for you, knowing where you are that makes that a good time is very helpful, because YouTube has pretty thorough statistics about where my viewers are that I look at pretty frequently. So knowing like what audience where wants what times is helpful. You could say like, well, 9 to 5 work and then just do that. Like, but it's not always like that, you know. Anyway. Okay, let me just catch up. Darkoon, hi, how much of a laser buff are we talking about here? They're all much better. I would say pretty much every weapon that this update touched is like meaningfully, significantly better. Speaking of which, one thing that I forgot to do yesterday when we were talking about these changes right after they happened is build the Flux Rifle, because it should be pretty good now. It was like terrible before, and it should be rather decent now. I have hope also, I'm not sure, but I have hope that the augment for the Flux Rifle, Flux Overdrive, might actually be good now. I've always thought that was a cool concept, but like it was, the Flux Rifle was just like woefully inadequate. Okay, 3 field run, we could do that. There its new stats. 24% status with mostly slash damage. There we go. Crit chance is still not good, but that's fine because we have the augment taking up a slot. Ooh, I don't know. I'm feeling like this one might get there. We'll see. Fire rate of 12. It's got punch through. Reload of 1 second. Oh. All right. Anyway, we're buying that. that's Smexual. Great. Lucas, hello, welcome. 18 hours and 28 minutes before Daiku Prime. Go, go, go. Ron, you gotta get in there, man. It's of the utmost importance that you get that weapon. It's not that good, but it's alright. It's better than it was. What's your IRL name, Zennypants? Xander. My name in real life is pretty much the same as my channel name. 3 field drawn alert. Look at that. Ask and you shall receive. Oh my god, beautiful. Can you tell me if beam changes affect the amp beam firing? Miguel, no, they don't. Does the Flux Rifle cut bodies, though? Black Note, it's mostly slash, so it should. But that's usually whether weapons cut bodies or not is like based on slash. But some weapons also like do it with more force, which like blows the body parts apart, so you like notice it more. But theoretically, it should be pretty much the same. Maybe we can have Necros using laser beams. Yeah, see, there we go. Anyway, so we'll find out. That's an interesting idea. I think the comb is still better for Necros cutting up bodies. Yeah, my IRL name is Alexander or Xander. Let's just cheese. Why not? Mesa framework preview. Gara framework preview. We'll play the Mesa framework and get some invasion done. So we're gonna do let's see if there's like, no, it's gonna be this one. Please be a mission type I don't hate. Defense. Fine. I'll live with it. So we're gonna do this 3 times to get 3 field drawn, which I recommend that you get field drawn and detonite, injector, whatever, and mutagen masses this way. I think it's much more time and cost efficient. I highly recommend that you do this instead of building them individually, especially for mutagen masses. It's less important for the other ones, but still relevant. You should probably still do it, or do both, like to save build time. Like if something requires 5 field drawn, build 2 field drawn, and then do an alert for 3 field drawn, or an invasion. And then you can get it done much faster in more like 24 hours instead of like 2.5 days, you know. And it also costs less, so. Anyway, Gray, I hear what sorry I didn't respond earlier about this, but I hear what you're saying about like chat being better on Twitch. Like I agree, YouTube's chat is like questionable, but there have been people that have come in and said they preferred it. So I don't know. I think doing both is good. All these enemies are way too weak. I feel like my Sentinel could probably just solo this mission. Oh right, we have Corpus allies. I forget that literally every time I do this kind of mission. I like start shooting the allies and I mess it up like several times. I'm like, what? Why are there just Corpus standing around? How has my Sentinel not killed these yet? Anyway, cool. Is the Flux Rifle classified as a laser pointer? Yeah. Yeah, boy. Well, with the Flux Rifle buff, can we cut through walls now? I wish. That would be sweet.
I'm on fire.
Meichi, welcome. Golden Eagle, thanks for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate the cross-platform support. We're going to move to Twitch after about 2 hours and continue the stream there. So this will be a long one overall, but the length on each platform will be quite normal. There's like, these enemies are like not even anywhere near close to powerful enough to warrant. Like I brought like Peacemaker Mesa against like, what level are these Grineer? Like I can't even see because they're dying so fast. Oh well, okay. 29, pitiful. Absolutely pitiful. My Sentinel could easily solo this mission. We should have done that. We should have had it solo it. Come on, little buddy. Show him what you got. My Sentinel's like, this is boring. What was your favorite clan again? Event. I feel like none of them have been that good. So I'm not really sure which to say. I missed some of them, Donnie McBride. How many hours do you have in game? 2200. 2200. 2200. Again, just note that as a content creator, like a good amount of that time is like me like AFKing while I think about ideas or write a script. So it's still, you know, it's still a long time, but The number it says in Steam is 2200. Hi, what build do you recommend for Tonbo? Papa Giorgio, I have not like owned the Tonbo before, so but it doesn't really matter because it's just like a melee stick. So I'm going to look up the stats. I was actually looking at the Tonbo a little bit recently for like a totally unrelated reason, but it's polearm that has 25% status chance, terrible crits. So I would recommend running no critical mods. 5% critical chance is too low, so don't run critical mods. You're going to run pure status. You're going to want to run viral as your element. You have mostly slash damage, so you want to reduce the enemy's health underneath the armor. Your build is going to be pressure point, condition overload, the 2 dual stat elements that will make viral, drifting contact, perhaps a slash damage mod like maim or whatever it's called for primary weapons. Your attack speed mod, which is going to be fury or primed fury in this case, and that should just about finish it up. Probably primed reach is going to be your last mod. That's what it should be. Do that, and you will kill everything. You said you had a Riven, which shouldn't change any of that, but let's take a look. Bunch of bonus damage, bunch of slash, so definitely don't run maim, because you got that. Negative damage to Grenier. Negative damage to Grenier is really bad. That's like very, very bad. If it's a lot, I would probably re-roll that. But if it's not a big deal, and you test it and it kills things, then that's fine. Papa Giorgio, I recommend that you substitute that out for pressure point. Don't run pressure point on your build. I know that sounds weird, but that will give you the most damage. Omit pressure point and run that instead, and it will be really good. I'd be happy to like type out that build if you like. I farm bits so much that it literally won't let me get any more for like 3 days. Salmon, how many is it that it capped you on that? Tell me, that's interesting. There's a Catalyst versus Reactor invasion going on since a few seconds ago. Benjamin, that's awesome. Thank you for telling me. I'll do that. Why do you run the Death Machine rifle on your Taxon? I don't, just to be clear about something, I don't run static combinations of things on, like, I don't have, like, one build for weapons, and I don't have one loadout for a given Sentinel, so, like, I don't always run the Death Machine rifle on my Taxon, but in this case I do. So, the question I'm going to answer is, why are you running the Death Machine rifle with Mesa on Taxon? I'm running Taxon with Mesa because Mesa's Shatter Shield defends against overshields. I mean, defends shields, as well as health. So gaining overshields gains you a lot of health. Every time Taxon does this little molecular conversion thing, you gain, like, I think it's like 4,000 EHP on Mesa because of Shatter Shield's damage reduction, which is obviously crazy and awesome. So that's why we're using Taxon. And then on Taxon, Taxon is average range, so you could use, you know, you could use Sweeper, that would be fine. You could use Sweeper Prime. Can't use Deconstructor, of course. You could use the Artax for the slow, or you could use Death Machine Rifle. Death Machine Rifle does have very good DPS, and I'd say it's like the best rounded Sentinel weapon. So I'm using it on Taxon because I don't need anything else. That is basically why. The Artax would be good for condition overload stuff, but I'm not really doing that. The Artax would also be good for like some crowd control, but I don't really need single target crowd control because this build basically just annihilates everything in a group. So like a single target getting slowed is not valuable for this build, whereas it is valuable for some other builds. So I'm using the Death Machine Rifle just to add damage. It benefits my Taxon a lot because it allows it to steadily DPS targets that have just barely survived and pick them off so they don't stick around to hurt it, or me, of course, and generally just adds damage to stuff. This loadout also reduces enemy HP with Corrosive instead of like some other method, like ignoring it or something, which means that my Death Machine Rifle will benefit from that. It doesn't have good status or crit and is normally hard to get through armor, but because I'm reducing that armor myself, it helps out my Death Machine Rifle. Oh, which is why I have it on here. So that's why. I do not recommend using a general setup for a Sentinel, because there are plenty of Warframes that want Taxxon but don't want a Death Machine Rifle. But Mesa, I believe, does want a Taxxon and Death Machine Rifle. Do you use Fired Up at all? Yes, I do use Fired Up. It's not great, but it's something, and you often don't need the extra space that like it's taking up. So I do recommend Fired Up. It's not, again, it's not great, but like it's something. So. Oh, well, okay. I guess that guy's fine. I agree with Salmon. If you have a Riven for a polearm, I really recommend re-rolling for range, because it will be, if you care about Rivens, re-roll for range. It will probably make you very happy. It'll make you delighted. Bebop, you say, do the changes affect Sentinel weapons? Not as far as I know. The only beam weapon for Sentinels is the Artax, so let's just take a look. 3% status, okay, but so they made the Artax in a way that it doesn't matter. So as you can see, it's got a fire rate of 1, like 1 time per second. So it even though status per second is gone, it only fires 1 time per second. So it still is on status per second. So the changes probably do like technically affect the Artax, but they don't make a difference. Or they make a very, very minor difference, I should say. Technically, if you ran fire rate and a bunch of status chance, you would now get significantly more, but still practically no status. So that. Okay, let's try something else, because this is way too powerful for the type of mission we're doing. Let's use Mag. Let's play Mag. I'm sorry, Mag. I do not mean to hate you. Zany, are you in college? No. I graduated college about 2 years ago. Doing this during college would be like, that would not be a good time. Like, trying to be a content creator during college, like, you should start if you feel like you can, but like, it would be so hard. Like, on top of just like other work, just. Does Chroma's new Vex armor apply to Sentinels and Companions? August Red, I actually don't know. That we should check. We should test that. Let me fire up a little thing. That's I hadn't thought of that, because that actually makes a rather big difference. Applying to Companions. I'm pretty sure it applies to Kuros and Kavats, but I don't know if it applies to Sentinels. It probably does, but I don't know. That's interesting. We will have to take a look. See if the enemies can survive this. These enemies can survive this. Fantastic. Okay. Barely, but oh, not if they're grouped up. Okay, well. Delicious. Okay. Oh, I feel like most of your loadouts are too strong for the star chart. Yeah, that's kind of true. It's like, and by too strong I mean like you like can't even really play them. Like, it's the enemies like can't take the abilities that were built into them. It's kind of sad. Again, Papa Giorgio, corrupted enemies don't count, Orokin enemies don't count as Grineer, so you really should test against like higher level Grineer enemies and see if it's a problem. 30% is a pretty large damage loss, but not, doesn't, you know, that doesn't prevent it from being good. But it would still be cool to reroll for something else. Perhaps. And if you're not down with it, you know, honestly, it'll probably still get there, yeah. Wait, how? What the? Where are we going? I don't know, Zed. I think that people just look younger on stream. Like, I've noticed a lot of people where, like, what streamers, when you find out their age, they seem like you think to yourself, they look younger, you know? I think it's something about the way the platform depicts individuals that resists formality. Like, it just doesn't look formal. It looks like a game thing, and it makes people look, not really look, but like appear to be younger than they are. I just realized that we're getting these objectives and not going to the extraction point. I don't know where I was going. Okay, hi enemies. My Sentinel is it's beating me. No, stop stealing my kills. Late to the party. Is that a standard hybrid Axamati build? Yes. I think this is the one where I'm still using... Why are there so many data terminals? Oh, those are probably just like map flags to get us to them. But still. I'm pretty sure this is still using primed heated charge as the last mod, but I'll check after we get out of the mission. Because I was playing around with a couple other stuff. Rip. More G3? Dead G3. I didn't even notice there was G3 because they're too weak. You are all too weak. No. Get out of my sight. Yeah, I don't know. Axamati was like okay before, but it definitely like the changes helped a lot. Everybody knows that using Discord reduces your age by 10 years. I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree with that. Delicious. Oh. Are they dead yet? More importantly, are we doing a terminal? Hey, barrel diffusion, nice. Are you expecting an Amprex nerf? Because I am. Pi, like, yeah, like maybe, but it's a little funny because like they're how do I want to say what I want to say? I think it's a little bit complicated because it's alright for a few weapons to be like better than others if they require huge amounts of investment, you know? And DE has shown before that they are okay with some weapons being like really, really powerful if you have to work for it. And like the Amprex, like now it's like a decent mastery rank and you have to put like 5 Forma in it and, you know, like to make it do like the insanity it can do. I feel like that might be okay, like in context. It is a lot better than a lot of other weapons, and does kind of invalidate some things, but like that's the mastery rank system is supposed to be like that to some degree, you know? So I do think that might be okay. But I see where you're coming from, and I do think there's a good chance we'll get nerfs to the Amprex. But I think it's just worth noting what D's like philosophy is about that, because a lot of people just blindly say if it's good they're gonna nerf it, and that's not how they do things. Like that doesn't happen. So that's just a myth perpetuated by people using selective memory. And there are plenty of times where they do not nerf things that are really good, and that is why. So we'll see. I'm not trying to implicate you specifically. I just like that a lot of people say that. So we'll see. I think there's a reason they might not, and there's a reason they might. So we'll have to see. God, this is way too easy. What makes the Amprex better than the Synapse? Risto Peter, the Amprex has chaining. The Amprex chains lightning effect to nearby enemies and does damage to them, and it's a lot of damage. And if you punch through enemies, then you get multiple instances of all of the damage and status. So it's way better if you use it against a crowd, and it is. We'll have to test, but probably it's worse. But we'll see how much worse when you use it against a single target. It is a lot better when used against a crowd, though. You can basically kill most of the enemies in the crowd at the exact same speed you're killing your primary target, which is very, very, very good. Definitely a lot better than the Synapse. But the Synapse's single target damage should now be meaningfully higher than the Amprex, where before it was like... So we'll have to see. I'm building it right now. The beam changes have gone live. It's true. Zed, out of curiosity, why don't you use Restream and stream on Twitch and YouTube at the same time? Zed, that is against Twitch's terms of service. If you are monetized on Twitch, you are not allowed to stream on multiple platforms at the same time. It is technically illegal if you are monetized on Twitch, which I am. So the only reason I don't is because Twitch won't let me. I used to do that. If you go far enough back in my streams, like, probably have to go back like a couple of months, a while. I used to do that, but you're not allowed to do that. Otherwise, I totally would. I absolutely would. All right, finishing it out, folks. If you want to do the catalyst alert together, I'd love to have you. Synapse's base corrosive actually does not make it meaningfully better, because you still want one. Like, it would have been fine to have like electricity as the base, and then use one elemental mod, because you still want one elemental mod for the optimal like mathematical DPS, and now you don't need it. So it ends up being like you are already gonna make space for one, but now the Synapse doesn't need it, and the Amprex does, which means the Amprex actually gains more from that slot than the Synapse does. Very high level reason why the Synapse is not meaningfully better for having base corrosive damage in that situation. Yeah, I'll show the Exomuddy build after we get out of here. I'm sorry, I forgot. Remind me again if I forget again. Yeah, so the meaningful difference is that the Amprex has chaining, and with its new changes, the Synapse should have higher damage on single targets. But we're going to have to take a look at whether it is enough more single target damage that it is actually better. Because if it's only a little bit better damage than the Amprex, you shouldn't use the Synapse. The damage has to be a lot better for it to be like, I will use the Synapse over the Amprex, even though the Amprex is such a monster at killing crowds, which is what we always have to kill in this game. So, we'll see. Corrosive and Viral is actually not that good. Viral, because the weapons that are good with Corrosive are good by having lots of corrosive, and the weapons that are good with viral are good with one viral proc. So usually if you get the one viral, the other viral procs are just a waste, and the corrosive procs you want to keep stacking up. Corrosive and viral together is actually not that good. That's a little bit overrated. They kind of pull you in opposite directions and don't take advantage of each other that well. So it's not like they don't benefit. You know, viral is always good, corrosive is always good, but it's not that good to have both of them on the same weapon. When they're there to begin with, like the viral on the Hema, that's really good. But building on viral when a weapon has innate corrosive is not a smart idea overall. It's probably better to build cold or radiation so that you have good damage against both types of Grineer armor. And then you also have, if you had radiation, for example, you have a proc that is good to frequently proc, or like cold. Or corrosive and gas, that's a good one. Corrosive and gas could be nice. Corrosive makes gas do more damage because it reduces armor. Corrosive and gas, definitely better than corrosive and viral together. Is Barrow coming tomorrow? Yes. He comes every 2 weeks on Friday. Corrosive and fire. That's fine. Corrosive and fire is nice because you get crowd control innate as you're shooting the targets. I think corrosive and cold is like kind of better because you get better damage bonuses overall from cold, and even though the CC is weaker, if you're getting a lot of it, then it's like pretty good. Radiation and toxin doesn't really cut the mustard because it doesn't avoid armor well enough, but otherwise it's good. CC the enemies into attacking each other and then they take some damage over time. That's not bad. Well, Kotek, it doesn't matter what level the enemies are. The principle still remains that it's not as good as doing it the other way. I mean, the principles don't change just because the enemies are a lower level. It's just like not the most efficient spread of damage. The gas, corrosive and gas would just instantly delete all of those enemies, and corrosive and viral will also instantly delete all of those enemies. But corrosive and gas has the benefit of like deleting enemies in a wider area, which does matter. So. Oh boy, where's the mass? Okay, good. Good job. Good job, soldier. Hey, you make framework about weapon synergies with frames, but what about warframes that synergize with each other, like team-based framework episodes? Stefano, I will give you a teaser here and not repeat it so that I don't spoil the surprise for too many people, I am already planning such a series. In fact, it should be coming out in a couple of weeks. It's going to be a collaboration with other content creators where we both do frames that synergize together, and it's probably going to be a lot of fun. I'm enjoying making it so far, and I hope that you enjoy it when it comes out. I'm already doing that. It is a very good idea. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Although there are less of those. Like, there are less meaningful Warframe synergies that are, like, actually interesting, like, worth noting. But there are some really interesting ones, so yes, we'll be doing that. I can't promise when, but probably during March, the first one will come out. They take quite a bit longer to make. They take a lot more coordination to make. So they're not going to come out that fast. Like frameworks, you get like, usually it's not a week goes by and you don't get a framework. These would probably be more like every month or so. Did you see my worm boosted those enemies away and they just like pinballed around this environment? This is a really nice environment. I like this. I hope that when we get Venus open world that it's like this, that it has like this type of terrain. Like it would be a lot of fun to like fly Archwing through here, you know? It'd be cool. I really like this particular tile. Like this is one of my favorite tiles. It's really nice. So viral or corrosive for Glaive Prime? I would say viral. You're stacking slash, so it should probably be viral. That's what I use on mine. Yeah, but Mag doesn't clear entire rooms. Like the thing that Mag does is different. She CCs entire rooms. Also, Ember still clears entire rooms. Like Ember is not meaningfully worse. If you actually play Ember, then you'll notice that she is still very easily capable of clearing entire rooms. They did not achieve the goal of their rework at all. She's still very good at what she was good at before, and she's only a little bit worse at what she was bad at before. Don't really know why they even did that, but that. Okay, listen, we've gotten into the mix. Let me post that we're live, and then we'll show some builds. I was thinking CC meant critical chance. CC is usually crowd control, but I understand the confusion. All right. Oh, that's not that. Okay. Live with the Hype Train stream. Starting on YouTube, then moving to Twitch. Join us. And over here. And on Twitch. Load. Load, damn you. My poor gigabit internet is like, I know that I have a lot of data, but... Okay. Boop. Okay. Does Excalibur's 3 and Mag's 2 still work together? Darwin, I actually didn't know that worked. I'm not sure. It probably does, if that worked before. I can't remember any changes that would have changed that. So, probably, but I'm not sure, actually. Mag and Mar Detron is okay. Yeah, I agree with Kotick, Stefano. It's alright. It's not that big. It's not that good. The Lanka is just much better. Like, so much better. And the thing about, like, radiation with Magnetize, it's not that big. Like, it's not that important to do that. It's good. It does make the enemies add damage to the bubble, but, like, if you fire the Lanka one time at a Magnetized bubble, it deletes level 150 enemies inside. Like, you don't need to do that. So, I don't know. Birdie, hello. How much better do you think the Atomos is now? Birdie, like, a lot better. Birdie, I would say that before, the Atomos was one of the few weapons that was, like, okay with raw damage. Like, no crit, no status. And now it has good status, and it's, like, really impressive. It's quite nice. Actually, let's show that. Here's the Exomodi build that I was talking about before. Prime TD charge is a little bit weird here. The CC is nice, but like you want more of your bullets to be doing corrosive. So an interesting point here is that using pathogen rounds or convulsion in this slot is basically the exact same as using prime T2 charge. Like the damage is about the same. The armor stripping can be a bit faster, and then you don't get CC from the heat. So kind of a trade-off. This is a good example of that type of thing, partially due to the low base status chance. But yeah. Anyway, Atomos is really good. I got in a little late. Corrosive and Toxin, are they that great? Toxin is not that great, but Corrosive is that great. Armor is a massive defensive measure, and you need to get rid of it if you're going to kill enemies. Well, you don't have to get rid of it, but you have to do something about it if you're going to kill enemies that have it, and Corrosive gets rid of it. So, yes, it is that good. Corrosive also has really good damage bonuses against a type of armor that's really populated. So that makes it even better, but it doesn't really need that to be good. That's just like a bonus. Let's show the Atomos a little bit, because seriously, it's so good now. I kind of... There we go. Newton, Toxin is good because it has good damage bonuses overall, and it ignores shields on Corpus. So that's good, but Toxin also combines into all of the best elemental combos, that being Corrosive, Viral, and Gas. So you pretty much never have Toxin by itself because it combines into all of the best elemental combos. So the reason Toxin is good is because it's good with everything else. I would say. Yeah, Cinnamon Gamcore has always been good. Now it's better, and the ammo economy is better. This is not the build we were testing. It's this build. I formatted this funny because I was building it weirdly for another purpose, which is why we only have these mods. But just this, without the 8th mod, I would definitely use Ruinous Extension. Is so adequate. It's so good. Like, I'm so impressed. I'm so proud of this weapon. And we'll show the the Amprex too. Let me go through my build. I'm building a lot of crap right now, so let me go through, do some housekeeping here. Despair super good now. Avinash, as far as I'm aware, Despair is still really bad. Unfortunately, it is one of the only weapons that did not get meaningfully buffed, which sucks because it really needed it. It got buffed. As I'm aware, they did do changes to it, but like they're not what it needed. And it is not good now. It was not good before, and it's not good now, unfortunately. I think Despair is cool looking. I wish the Despair was good, but it's not. You just don't really need that mutagen mass, but fine. Another reactor. What else do I have in here? Spectra, okay. Stuff, Virtuous Tempo, nice. What about Magus Elevate? We need those, right? Yep. Almost out of Eidolon shards, okay. Is using munitions still worth on beam weapons? Stefano, it has become slightly better in the abstract because beam weapons now take more times per second, which makes it more consistent. Otherwise, it did not really change. You should still use it if the weapon has consistent crits, and you still shouldn't use it if the weapon doesn't have consistent crits, even if it has some crits. It just got more consistent. It didn't really get better or worse, like, per amount of crit. It just got more consistent. It's always about consistency with that. What do you think about weapons like the Pox? Newton, what do you mean by weapons like the Pox? I think the Pox is really good. What do you mean by weapons like the Pox? Pixels, welcome. Mags Magnetize used to pull all of Excalibur's radial javelins into the target, but someone said it no longer works, so I'm just curious about that. Yeah, like, I could see that being true, but I don't know why it would, like, not be. I don't know what change would have caused that to not happen, you know? Let's go to... I wish Despair ignored 1% of armor. Black Note, that makes me so salty. That would not matter. Like, please don't say that. Don't say stuff like that. DE will listen and be like, we hear you loud and clear. No, that wouldn't do anything. Let's eat some chocolate hearts. Gotta eat some chocolate hearts to make myself feel better. My girlfriend and I got each other, like, way too much Valentine's chocolate. Way too much. We just have, like, chocolate hearts, like, all over the and I've been eating them for, like, 2 weeks. Black Note. I like naming the pox the infesticles. The weapon that got buffed the most with these changes is the Amprex. I can't believe I'm saying that because the Amprex was one of the only beam weapons that was already good before these changes. So I'm really flabbergasted that it became the weapon that was buffed the most, even though it was the weapon that was already the best. So that bothers me a bit, but like, dear Lord, like, why? Why is it so good? D. Naruto, ouch. Supreme Asura, welcome. Hi. Its use overall, I've used it in many missions. It's great. How can I improve it? Newton, you're talking about Pox. I recommend what Black Note did. Run Corrosive and Blast. I think my Pox build is like all dual stat mods, the base mods, and then Fulmination, but I'll check. Oh, and then pathogen rounds. Can it take Fulmination? I'd say like half and half between using corrosive, more corrosive, and using Fulmination. Can you fit that? You can't quite fit it. So in one forma, you can't quite fit that. I don't know. This would be a pretty large gain for this weapon, though, because its size is its problem. Yeah, now that's a lot of damage. There we go. Well, Palabragris, though the stats that you suggested for the Despair would make it better, but the problem is, like, there's kind of a design space problem with thrown weapons right now, where, like, the Fusilier is a hybrid bleed weapon already, and the Spira is, like, a hardcore crit puncture weapon already, and so, like, they don't really have anything else to make. Thrown weapons need a little bit more, I think, to like have enough niches to be a thing, in my opinion. So I don't know, but I wish it would get better because I do think it's really cool. Zandy, if you're doing more leveling, would you be willing to group up from people from the stream? I'm probably not going to do any leveling this stream, but if I were, then totally, yeah. What do you think of Quanta Vandal? I actually don't have Quanta Vandal. Stefano, Barrow has not brought Quanta Vandal in a little while, so I'm hoping that he will bring it tomorrow and I'll be able to pick it up. Previously, Quanta Vandal was one of the other only beam weapons that was good. It wasn't like amazing, but it was good. So I suspect it's quite powerful now. The cubes, especially, they buffed the cubes, which was like the part I really didn't think needed to be buffed. So I'm really curious to see like what happened to that. It's also, I believe, the Quanta Vandal has base electricity. Is that true? Let's look that up. Shouldn't just say these things. Let's just look it up. Quanta Vandal. Or Quanta. Yeah. Electricity damage. Praise be. So you can save a slot by just running Toxin. Sweet. That's going to be cool. Oh. So yeah, I don't know. Oh. Oh, water down the wrong pipe. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's show the let's show the Atomos. Oh. My throat. My face. This is like almost as good. Watch. Oh. 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 It's so good. It's so good. Like on Bombards, like not as much, but like it's still pretty good. Oh, look at that. So spice. Look at all that spice. It's so good. It's so lovely now. And listen, like, this is just a general build, you know? Like, this is not even, like, exploiting stuff about this weapon, which, like... Listen. Grilled Cheese Ember is gonna get a new, coat of paint. We will ban you if you die. I'm trying to hydrate, too. Dying on stream is illegal. Nox, the problem is I was choking because of what? I drink way too much water on stream. Like, Atomos chains off dead enemies too, like the Amprex. I'm pretty sure it does, but I actually haven't tested that, so let's take a look. Even if it does, I would recommend that you shoot living enemies with this weapon most of the time. Yup. Yeah, it chains off dead bodies. Again, you should shoot living enemies, but if enemies are around a corner or something, you can indeed shoot at dead bodies. Grilled cheese ember got burnt. Yeah, it's gonna become like carbonized ember, like reduced to its base elements. Anyway. Yeah. Oh man, Logan Paul has finally made his way to my chat. Man. Well, at least, hopefully if that happened, this time he'll just be kicked out of the universe for good instead of the piddly little punishment that he got before. Well, I guess when they revised it, they did okay. Anyway, so I wanted to show that. I think the weapons that got the most meaningfully buffed were the weapons that had the most powerful mechanic, and since all beam weapons, like, kind of similarly got buffed, they basically just all have really good status now. The weapons that are the best out of the pack, in my opinion, are the weapons that had the chaining. These weapons are now god destroyers that will annihilate entire groups of high-level enemies in an instant. I actually didn't show my... I didn't show this. Yes. Somebody mentioned something about the range, and I really don't think that's that big a deal. Like, the range is not that much of a problem. It's really not. I am, however, kind of curious about something. Interesting. Okay. I was just doing some math. Anyway, if you haven't seen the Amprex, let me show it one more time, just because it's so satisfying to watch. It's just like such a world-destroying machine now. Like, whoa. Like, it's almost like as fast as you can point at enemies, they die. Like, you can't even, like, locate new enemies to shoot it at before the enemies you were shooting at are dead. Like, my brain is, like, looking for the next enemies to kill, and the enemies I was shooting are already dead, and I need to have found enemies to kill. Like, it's so insane. Like, I cannot, like, why? This weapon didn't even need a buff. Why? You know, for consistency, of course, but, you know, friggin' consistency. Anyway, yeah, anyway, there you go. And again, you can do, like, some shenanigans by trying to squeeze in the range mods, but I really do think this build is adequate. Like, it has the range that is, like, meaningful, and it does the damage. Anyway. So I think you should do that. But there are variants, obviously. What about bows? Which is your favorite? Newton, now I would say probably Cernos Prime. I'm not a big bow fan, but I do like Cernos Prime. I'm not a huge bow fan, but I do like Cernos Prime. The way that I use the Dread, which is like pure slash procking, that's in my Inaros video. I also really like, but it's, I don't know. Not a huge bow person, but those are the ones I like. Not a big Rakdos Cernos fan. Used to be, not really so much anymore. It's just kind of lackluster, I think. Amprex with Lasting Covenant. Okay. No. No. Salmon, I actually have I have one situation that like makes the Amprex like even more gross. Like by like you do something kind of normal and it gets like way better, like for some insane reason. Anyway. Actually, the Nucor uses microwaves. The Atomos is a mining laser. Yeah, well, I thought you said volcano gun. That's what it feels like. I just found my new favorite frame, Nezha. Oh baby, let's do that. Let's do that reactor alert. Speaking of Nezha, I would enjoy getting Eidolon kills in. Is it day? No, it's nighttime. It's not daytime. It's mumbling to myself meaningless crap. So yeah, I don't know. When it's nighttime, we could look at doing some runs. Corpus Siege. Catalyst. Do you think the Synoid Simulator needs a buff? I think that weapon doesn't really belong in this game. Like it's not really that possible to put effort into it. Either that or they would nerf it to the state it is in now, and it like you can't do that much with it. It takes too much effort. The state it's in now is certainly fair, but I don't personally feel it's that fun. I kind of just think it's a weapon that might have been a design mistake. Like it's interesting, but it's just like what, you know, like I'm not sure that it is this is the right game for it, so to say. So I don't know. Oh, Newton, I don't really consider the lens to be a bow. If you include the lens as a bow, then I would say the lens is my favorite. It's really not a bow. I mean, it's technically a bow, but I care about what the weapon does, and the lens is a launcher in my book. Catalyst Invasion, yeah, I know, right? But yeah, if you're counting the lens, I would say the lens, but I don't know. Firewalker is the besto. Especially in maps like this, it's quite nice. Like you can really lock down a lot of space. Look over there. I just killed something with it. Beautiful. Good work, Firewalker. Behold. Firewalker is pretty good. This will be this is the evolved form of Skater Boy that you will see at the very end of Framework. The last Framework is Hater Boy Nezha, and is this ascended build. I think Mirage is the reason that it was nerfed into the ground. Like that was maybe the catalyst, but like that doesn't really change the fact that the way the weapon fires is incompatible with like needing to do things. You know, like all you have to do is stand near enemies and click the button on the weapon, and like the enemies will die, which I think is fundamentally incompatible with what they want to be in the game. So I don't know. I think it's kind of a design mistake, and they're kind of just trapped now, and they have to keep it in the game. So I think the way they changed it is the way they should have changed it, considering that they need to keep it in the game. But like, if you could go back in time, I bet they would unmake the weapon. That's not really their words, but that's my prediction of what they would think. Black Note, I don't want to hear it. Can it? Zandy is the Baza. Oh baby. Is that a term of endearment though? Hey, Zandy, I'm on my lunch break trying to catch a behold and a go figure. Do I say go figure too much? Is that true? Is that a thing? Well, you got a behold right here. Look at friggin' Firewalker Nezha. Yeah, boy. Bye, Nikiske. See you later. Salmon, if you wanna join me for the next 2, I'd be down to have you. Sorry, I missed you before. I mean, how is that different than Amprex now, just needing to kind of aim at the head? Well, the thing is, August Red, like, you not only have to aim at an enemy, like, you have to aim at an enemy, whereas, like, Sinoid Simulor, like, you can very much just, like, you don't even know where the enemies are, and as long as you keep hitting it, like, anything remotely near you will die. That's a lot different than, that's already a lot different than the, what the Sinoid Simulor was. And the other thing is that Amprex's chaining range is not actually that far. And if you, with the optimal build for it, if you like get the range increase mod, it's an actual trade-off. So I think that's better. I still think it's a little strong, but like it's definitely much higher effort than the Sinoid Simulor is like literally negative effort. It's like you could very well not even know where the enemies are, and you just like be told the weapon was good and be spamming it, and you'd be like, why are there no enemies in this mission? And then at the end of the mission, you'll be like, oh, I killed them all without ever seeing them. Like, it's, just, like, redefines trivialization. Like, it's beyond trivial. Excuse me. That's the difference, I feel. What fire is the hottest? It's true. That's science fact right there. How do you think the Melee dev shop will go? Good question. Nezha's so hot that his flame burns blue. Exactly. Nice touch, right? Hopefully Melee doesn't get nerfed into the ground. Donnie McBride, I highly doubt they're going to nerf a bunch of Melee weapons. I don't think that's going to happen. They have not been in the business of nerfing during these changes. They're just trying to make mastery ranks like make sense and make weapons that had nothing they were good for be good. So I think what's going to happen is that we're going to end up with an economy of choice that we don't have as much, just like we got with primaries and secondaries and stuff, where they're just going to make a lot more weapons as good as the weapons we have, and like anti-power creep, like reverse power creep. I don't know what to call it exactly, but they're going to make things more equal so that the weapons that are overpowered are like less powerful relative to all of the other weapons, you know what I mean? And then it will feel like the weapons that are OP in Melee are like less OP. It's already starting to feel like crit stats don't really matter because you have weapons that don't have crit stats but are really good, like the Casawar. The Casawar is very similar or overall to the Orthos Prime, but the Casawar does not have critical stats, and it's interesting how little that matters. Like, when you look at the two weapons, like you'd think that look, mathematically it should matter a lot, but it doesn't. So yeah, I don't know, but that's what I think will happen. I think there's no good reason not to expect the same kind of thing that we got with the other types of weapons. So don't worry about it too much. I think it'll be fine. In before Melee changes make channeling OP. Listen, I would like nothing better than for them to change how channeling works during the Melee changes, but I don't know if they're going to do that. They might be waiting to like fix channeling before they do that, but I do not know, and I'm not feeling confident. I don't know. Although the fact that we've had them separated is like maybe a good sign for that. I don't know. Interesting point. Do you think having pets require stasis out in and out hurt their use with multiple sentinels saved in loadouts? I don't think it really matters. Like if they would just give all companions the ability to have vacuum or just have it be universal, which is what it should be, then they would very easily be able to be as good as sentinels, and I think it would be fine to just have the flavor of like taking them in and out of stasis. I don't think there should be a recovery time from stasis. I think that the feeling of recovering pets from stasis already makes them feel organic and lifelike enough, and it doesn't need to cost anything. And I think as long as that's the case and they just make getting it pets out of stasis like faster, it's really not a big deal. I think that's kind of like only a symptom of the larger problem, and I don't think that has to do with why what the real problem is. They just need to make both have vacuum. That would fix the entire problem instantly. They all have niches. You would still use Sentinels and you would still use Kubers and Kavats, but you would now actually use Kubers and Kavats in like some cases because their niches would not be offset by their lack of a vacuum. And I really, really hope they just do that because it would be really easy. They could do that in like 10 minutes on a coffee break and it would make the game so much better immediately. And there's no benefit, there's no detriment. There's no benefit to not doing it. There's no detriment to doing it. So hopefully that'll happen. Melee is definitely the best weapon category. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I don't know. I still think it's a little overrated. Like, being at range can be spice. And for some frames it matters more than others. Stasis thing. Do you do anything to stop your hands from hurting? You must spend a lot of time at a keyboard. Gray Mayhem, a couple quiet things. So Gray, first of all, by having a standing desk, you change how it is on your body to be at a keyboard a lot. Because for me, I can kind of show you. So, I kind of can't show you, but I'll try. So, like, you can see that when my hand is, like, level with my desk, I'm not actually bending my arm that much, right? Like, my wrist is kind of straight, whereas when most people use a computer, they have to be like this, or like this, you know? Like, their wrists have to be bent a lot, which hurts a lot, and is not great for your, hands. By having a standing desk, I do fix a lot of the problem, and when I did not have a standing desk, it did hurt a lot. So a lot of that is fixed by that. But I am actually taking a more drastic measure, because it's not that bad. It used to be a bit of a problem, but it's not that bad. Right now, honestly, it's not. But I am actually taking an extreme measure, just because, like, if I do this for decades and decades, like, if this is my career, then it's gonna get kind of bad, you know? Like, inevitably, it's gonna start to hurt. So thinking about the future and preempting that it might start to do me physical harm, I don't know. It feels fine now, but, you know, what if it does? I actually invested in a really, really fancy, awesome keyboard that you can split in half. So instead of having your hands be like this, which, like, also hurts your shoulders, you can have them be, like, way apart. So, like, when I type, it will be, like, my hands will be, like, way, way apart on the opposite sides of the desk, which widens up your shoulders, helps your wrists as well, because normally they're not going to be like that. That prevents overlap with the way you use a car. That prevents overlap with pretty much the way you use every device, and will help stretch them out, which will mean that the beginning of my computer time will actually be stretching me instead of hurting it, and that should make a pretty big difference. A last thing that's, like, not a huge deal, but does exist, is using, like, a claw grip on a mouse. So, like, instead of, it's kind of hard to show, but, like, instead of having it be, like, see, if this was a table, my wrist would be, like, against the table, which puts stress on it. By having a claw grip where you hold it like this, see, my wrist isn't on the table, it works your arm more, but, like, so your arm gets a workout while you use a mouse. That's not bad. And it's much better for you. So I've been working on that. I'm not great at it, but I do, even doing it a little bit makes a big difference. So those things, kind of, but mostly I would say it's actually just not that much of a problem. Use my Nezha. Nox, let me see how it looks at the fashion. Nox, in the folks in the fashion frame beta test contest thing, Nox was a finalist with this Nezha fashion. This is their exact appearance that they made and entered into the contest, and it looks pretty good. A nice, like, night of time Nezha, which looks pretty sweet. It doesn't go with my weapons, but I'll use it for a mission, sure. It looks pretty nice. Pretty spicy. Plays up the more serious look of this skin pretty well. I'm really looking forward to Nezha Deluxe, though. Like, I really, really want it. Like, a lot. I'm so excited. I want it so bad. I'm gonna fashion the hell out of that. It's gonna be sweet. I'm glad that you're appreciating Skater Boy more. That is the goal of this channel. Hey, Sandy, I got a Legion Riven the other day that gave me slide attack, 38% critical chance. Is that like a mini maiming strike? It's a mini maiming strike, yes. The crit chance on slide attack thing on Rivens for melee weapons is maiming strike. Good question. I hope Twin Basalt gets buffed. I agree. It's always been kind of a cool weapon. It's already not bad, but like still. They're changing melee. Again, they're not the thing that they're doing with all of these changes is not because the weapons are necessarily like so broken or the category is so broken. They're doing it to make mastery rank actually exist, like, and be a thing that climbs up the power of your weapons. That was not true before. Mastery rank had nothing to do with the power level weapon before, and now it does because they've changed everything so that it does. And they're also making weapons that were good for they just didn't have anything they were good at because they didn't do any math when they made the weapon. They're now doing math and making sure the weapon is actually good at something. So they're not changing them necessarily because there's a problem. They're trying to just make them better. You shouldn't really expect nerfs, and we have had almost 0 nerfs this entire time. They've changed almost 150 weapons. Almost every weapon in the game has been changed, and almost nothing has been nerfed. Because that's not why they're doing this. It's not about that. Not even that many things have been buffed like that insanely, but like a lot of things have become like good. Like, although the Atarax getting put in its place a little bit would not surprise me. They did nerf the Pendedo, and that deserved it, but it's still good, you know? Like, it's still a good weapon. It was a little strong before. Just noticed your sign on it makes your Nezha look like your logo. Yes, JJ Biggie, you have noticed my secret. That is meant to be the point of that fashion. I'm super happy you noticed that. That makes me happy. Any tips on getting Cetus Wisps? I actually have to farm Cetus Wisps today, so we can take a look at that. Hybrid builds are not the new meta. They've always been the meta. Donnie McBride, hybrid builds have always been better than everything else. There has never been a time, ever since Damage 2.0, when status effects became what they currently are, hybrid builds have always been better than everything else. People just didn't know. Apparently. I will show the Wisp farming route. It's not too complicated. It's pretty easy to show, so I will show that. Let's take a look at Vrug's fashion a little bit. Is this what type of mission is this? Oh, it's a defense, okay. Let's take a look at this fire. How many feet can Nezha run in 7 minutes? I have no idea. Can anyone even come up with a reason against Univac? No, there's no reason not to have Univac. There is literally not a reason. There are no reasons. They're just being stubborn, and we've seen recently, we have seen our developers go back on things they were previously stubborn about, so I think there is very high hope for Univac. Previously, I had thought they were never going to do it, but they have recently gone back on things that they were seemingly just stubbornly not doing. Things like Ashe's Bladestorm being the way it currently is. That was obviously the correct change from day one, but they stubbornly did not do it. It did not seem like there was a reason they didn't do it except stubbornness, and now they have done it. I have noticed some differences in design, and I think that those changes will lead to Univac. That's my personal opinion. I don't know for sure, but that's what I predict. And I really, really hope I'm right. Hey, 2 mutagen masses from an alert. Sweet. I might do that. Anyway. Do you use rank 10 bullet jump mods? Not on this build, but sometimes. Mine are actually rank 9 at the moment, but yeah, like on some builds, sure. If you're asking, like, are they good ever? Yes, totally. Oh, anyway, they probably will. And a way to revive Sentinels. I actually don't know about that. Palabragris, I have mixed feelings about that. I kind of like that Kavats have the thing where they can be revived, and Sentinels have the thing where they revive themselves. I actually think that's an interesting push and pull that I would like to see stay. I think that is one of the good balancing factors of Sentinels, is that they can revive you with sacrifice and themselves with regen, but they cannot be revived infinite times. I actually think that that's good. Like, I think that is a good thing that should stay overall. It means that there will always be a push and pull between, like, having a Sentinel that can auto-revive you and having a Kavat that you can keep around for a long time. But it's true that in very, very long missions, that might create a push and pull where you'd have to be insane not to use a Kubra or Kavat because they're, like, it's a vacuum that you never lose. That would not affect a meaningful amount of the community, so I don't think it's a big deal, but that would be, like, a tiny, tiny drawback. That does not matter at all, and is not a good reason to not do it. Although I guarantee you that they've talked about that, and that is one reason they're hesitant. Which is perfectly fine. Like, it's okay that they thought that and were like, this is a reason not to do it. It's just not a good enough reason not to do it. And again, like, that could be fixed. Like, they could put, you know, again, like you said, they could make, like, a really expensive consumable that brings Sentinels back to life, so that super hardcore, like, the very, very few people who enjoy doing, like, long endurance runs, those people could, like, have their Sentinel come back if they really, really wanted it to. I don't see why that would be a problem. They could just do that. Yeah, Kotick, again, talking about there being an innate univac is not relevant. It's not, that's not what we mean, and you know it. They mean, like, a huge one. I agree tying arcanes to cosmetics sucks. I'm just a little bit worried that they're going to make it so you can't share them between warframes, and, like, that would be kind of a big problem. That would be a pretty big annoyance, in my opinion. Not a big problem, but it would be quite a large annoyance, I would say. You should be able to use them. Once you have them, it should be like mods, and you just put them on. You know, there shouldn't be a reason to have multiple sets of a thing. I don't think that seems a bit silly. Maybe 2, but, like, not more than 2. There's, like, a ton of enemies, but I don't see them. Okay. Anyway, guys, if you have a fully built weapon that has an MR14 requirement in your foundry, but you're only MR8, can you still collect it? Yes. If you already had a weapon that got its MR increased, then you can have it. You just get grandfathered in. Claw grip destroys me. I know, right? How would you fit in a critical chance multi-shot Tenora Riven? Not sure what to drop. Vial acceleration, hunting munitions, one of the 2 elemental mods, etc. Yobo, remind me after we get out of this defense, and I'll pull up my build and show you what I think you should take out. Yobo, the short answer, if you don't want to wait, is that you should take out what you have the most of, or what has the weakest mod. So, for example, Vigilante Armaments is very good and should be on a normal Tenora build, but if you have multi-shot on a Riven, the Vigilante Armaments is probably your weakest mod now, so you should probably take it off. It depends how much crit chance you have. It's possible you should take your crit chance mod off, but probably not. You should probably take your multi-shot mod off. Vigilante Armaments is really good and should be on most normal builds, but it is one of the weaker mods that is good that should be on most normal builds. So if you get a Riven that has multi-shot, you should often take off Vigilante Armaments. Okay. What type of mod can DE introduce the primary and secondary weapons that will allow some type of scaling? Something similar to melee weapons, covert lethality, blood rush, condition overload. Dynamic Bride, I personally do not think that it's needed that much. I think it's okay that melee weapons have scaling in that way, and primaries and secondaries, like, don't always, because there are some Warframe abilities that have scaling. It's okay for not everything to have scaling. The game is not currently hard enough for that to be a relevant issue. Like, there's not, like, content difficult enough for that to be a problem. So I would say, for now, I think that that's not really important, but eventually, if they give us, like, properly difficult content, or, like, rewards for doing endurance runs, for example, meaningful rewards, then perhaps that, like, we should revisit that issue. But I think right now it's not the fight to fight. It's not important at the moment, but I think eventually that will be a discussion we need to have. Personally, I think that it shouldn't really be primaries, secondaries, melees, or whatever. I think Warframe powers in general should just have scaling effects, and then you could, like, use those along with primaries, secondaries, melees. A good example of this would be, like, imagine that Nova's antimatter drop, when charged, does a % of enemy health instead of, like, a set amount of damage. So you use weapons to charge Nova's antimatter drop, and then even if enemies are really high level, it does a % of damage. and then that would kind of fix the problem. Because they didn't do any math when they made the weapon. Yeah, it's kind of true. Are you not ready for the glory that is Skater Boy Deluxe? Oh, baby, I'm so ready. It's going to be so good. Alright, let me scroll down. I just hope they fix the SARPA. Oh, man. They need... I hope that we get, like, crazy... we get crazy changes to those types of weapons. Alright, let's quickly pull up the Tenora. Oh, wait. I have my Tenora up here. Tenora. Excuse me. Okay, so here's my current Tenora build. This is just one build to rule them all on the Tenora. I hold that Shred is the best last mod, but Reload is not awful. I still think Shred is really good. This weapon is very, very good at clearing down hallways and being used as an LMG. But if you have a Riven that does, you said you had critical chance and multi-shot, yeah, I would definitely replace Vigilante armaments. The critical chance in this weapon wants to be higher, like consistency would be nice. It's not the end of the world not to have it, but like more would be good. Critical stats in general are pretty strong. Like it's good to have. And you also said that you had 100 munitions on your build. I don't know where, but even without knowing where, having slash procs makes critical stats better because critical stats aren't scaled up by your other types of mods. Critical stats will scale up your slash procs where other mods will not. So like getting a crit makes your slash proc a critical slash proc. So that makes it better. So if you're running 100 munitions, all the more reason to have like stack more crit. So you want to replace one of the things you already have and use the Riven as an upgrade of the mod you have most of the time. Most of the time, not all the time. And the best upgrade is Vigilante armaments. So I would do that. Good question. Gugus, hello. Oh, Gugus, welcome. We have one more, right? Okay. How close am I to catching up on chat? Let's see. DA, what's up? Hi. Thanks for saying hi. Thanks for stopping in to say hello. I haven't talked to you in a little while. Hi. I'm DA, as you can see, I'm way behind on chat. Kubros and Kvats didn't need DNA stabilizers. I agree. They really need to do that. Sentinel updates probably still going to happen. Just make Sentinels invincible, but lower their utility. Yeah, it's not a development problem. They still keep Arcane Energize as a rare drop. They really don't want infinite energy for the masses. Yeah, I don't know, Gukus. I don't know why they're doing that because like you can kind of already get it with Energizing Dash, and like now we just have like a haves and have-nots system. So I don't know. If you got enough multi-shot on, let's say, a Super Riven, would you rather take out Split Chamber or Vigilante Armaments? It should always be Vigilante Armaments. There is no contest. There is no situation where you should take Split Chamber off those weapons. If it's good on them. Damage on Vigilante Armaments is very good, but a lot worse than Split Chamber. There's definitely not a reason to take that off. Yeah, the 5% crit up effect is always less valuable than 30% multi-shot. Always, 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 always. There's definitely no circumstance where you should not take out Vigilante Armaments. Interesting question. Like, I understand why you ask, but that. Oh man, I'm catching up on chat, folks. I'm here. Is negative friction good, and does it affect knockdown? It doesn't affect knockdown, but it is good on the frames where it's good. On Nezha, it's really good because he compounds it with his sliding passive. There are lots of situations where it is very powerful, but there are lots where it's not. Joey Zero has a pretty interesting application for it where he uses it with Octavia because you can use crouching, which is sliding when you're moving, to get one of her buffs. And by having Maglev on your build, that causes you to gain mobility. So instead of having to stop and refresh your buffs, by crouching, which is sliding, which makes you slide further when you have Maglev, you're actually gaining mobility while refreshing your buff, which is nice. So that's good. Overall, I would say that among things that enhance your mobility, negative friction mods are not one of the better things. You should usually use the bullet jump mods, in my opinion. but they are sometimes good. And sometimes people just like them, you know? Another thing is, like, if you're gonna spam slide attacks all the time, like, then they get better, obviously. Like, if you use the Atarax all the time, maybe look into that, but... Oh yeah, Yobo, Vile Excel seems fine on the Tenora too. I just think Shred is nice because it's a lot of value for this type of weapon. Yobo, I was actually going to say maybe consider doing, if you're going to use 100 munitions, maybe drop the Shred. But you do you. Lots of different combinations. Chat, how many credits do you think is enough for Barrow? Couple million, depending on... It depends how much stuff your account has. If you're like me, and unless there's something new, or like the the Quanta Vandal, you're not going to buy it, then like 1 million is enough. But if you're a new player, and you like have time to farm credits, and you want to know how many you should farm, like more than a couple million, like a lot. Just in case there's lots of good Prime mods, then you can just pick them all up. And like, and Cosmic, you know, you can get everything you want. Why aren't event badges colorable based on Warframe color scheme? I agree. I don't really understand why. I don't really understand why that's the case. It's strange to me. It's like a really bizarre part of this game's customization. That's an interesting point. Tenora on Mesa for the alt fire first ability shot. Jason, that is a thing you can do, but her first ability is not that good. Your damage output is so high that it's usually not worth micromanaging. But you can do that. That is a good thing that you can do. But mostly it's there as it is a light machine gun that is good at clearing out hallways, and Mesa is already good at clearing out open areas, so the Tenora is good at shooting down a hallway and clearing out enemies there. So it's just meant to fill out her other combat space. Like, Peacemaker is weaker when you're not in an open area, so in those closed areas the Tenora is good. But yes, using her first ability, charge that up, use it with the Tenora's alt fire. That is a way to get a single fire without using more than one weapon slot. Which is a secondary reason that I bring it. Yes, let's see what we can do about Eidolon hunts. Somebody's asking about that. Okay. False alarm. We're fine. How much longer are we on YouTube for? Probably like this night cycle, and then we'll swap to Twitch. It's already been almost 2 hours. Damn. What? Damn. Infinite revives on Sentinels, but longer cooldown between each. Ooh, Jason, that's an interesting idea. What about a cooldown on revives for Sentinels? Huh. I didn't think of that. That's not bad, actually. Sure, that makes sacrifice could still be fair with that system. Huh. Nice. I might talk about that in a video. That's not bad. Infinite Sentinel lives, but cooldown. And then regen and primed regen can speed it up to be like reasonable, so there's still going to be core. And then primed regen gives you longer invulnerability when you get the revive. Sure. Cool. Oh, we're done. Okay. I'm just like skating around, like, wee. Oh, sorry, folks. Opinion on Nezha's 1 augment. You really need to build for it. I feel like it's not that high value unless you're like planning for it, but it is quite powerful if you plan for it. You can do pretty insane damage with that augment. Trying to make a build that will fit it and the slide mods and be good with Warding Halo and, you know, is hard, and I feel like there isn't that much space, but it is a very good augment. I look for a framework B-side on that because I think it requires a separate build to be like as good as it can be, but it is pretty good. So we finished that, right? And now we could go kill some Eidolons, which is what I would love to do. Is Synod Gammacore's ammo economy decent now? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. What Warframe needs a rework next, in your opinion? I would say Titania or Wukong. I don't think Wukong. Titania. And it's easy. Make her 2 AoE and not do damage. Make her 1's fine. Her 4's fine. Make her 3. Just make the enemy not float around in the air as much. Make it like stay to the ground a little bit more. That would make all the difference. Like her 2 is not targetable. It's just like you cast it and in an AoE around you, all the enemies drop a tribute. They can still only drop 1. They don't take damage. It just hits in an enemy around you. That would make it good. It would make it reasonable to collect the buffs instead of just like you have to spam an insane amount of times. And it would also make it so you have an untargetable ability that you can use to charge the augment for her 4. That's currently a problem. You need targets that can be CC'd to get your Razorwing Blitz charged for her 4. Change the Dewata to have like crit and or status, so it's not just like a terrible weapon. And then you can melee a little bit. Her Dex Pixie are fine. Her 1 is fine. Her 3 is situationally fine, but it needs a different augment and needs to stay close to the ground. Her 2 needs to be an AoE that isn't targeted, that does no damage. I'm just saying does no damage for balancing, because her 2 currently actually does rather high damage. Not that it matters that much, but for balancing purposes, it should probably just lose the damage. It's not meant to be a damaging ability. Yes. Raid, you missed my answer before. The slide attack thing on Rivens is the same as Maiming Strike. It's additive. I did answer before, but it must have gotten lost in chat, so I'm sorry for getting to you later, but yes, it's additive. Let's kill Eidolons with the Synoid Gamma-Core. That should be fun, right? Such a bad idea. Such a bad idea. Okay, listen, I bet these are dashes though. Salvation. And Convulsion. Oh, it's a D. Okay. We're fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. This is a good Eidolon killing weapon, right? Okay, let's bring that. Where's my super boring but good Eidolon killing Rhino? Because night has already started, right? So we gotta get going. How long are we gonna stream for? We're gonna be here on YouTube until the end of this night cycle, and then we're going to move to Twitch for another 2 hours or so. So probably almost 3 more hours, around 3 more hours. I actually want to try my Opticore against the Eidolons. Let's use a different aura. I'll cough it up and use Steel Charge for now. And grab my Atarax. I want a blue beam. That's fine, sure. Hand. I'll take a shape. Jason, I think Razorwing Blitz scales with duration, power duration. I could be wrong about that, but it should. It should. If it doesn't, it should. There. When will Umbra be released? That is delayed. I have no idea. Anyway. Would you be disappointed if Excalibur Umbra turns out to just be skin for Excalibur? Not overly, but I do think it will and should be more than that. I highly doubt that'll happen. All right, my dear fish. Yeah, folks, if you want to join for Eidolon hunting, get out here. Blitz scales with duration and strength. Awesome. Does Redeemer make Ivara's Prowl go away? Not to my knowledge. Does it bother you that DE gave up on shield gating? They didn't give up on it. They just said that they don't think it changes the game flow that much. I'm kind of fine with that, yeah. I don't think it's a big deal, although I do think that it would make frames with shields like more viable. Like I was kind of hoping that it would make a that was satisfying. I was kind of hoping that it would make like a shield healing strategy viable on frames like mag, but I don't know, and it's not that bad. Like I don't think the game needs it that badly, but who knows? I think they said the Dex Excal will just be a skin. Yes, Dex Excalibur will just be a skin. Although a very cool skin. Is that the other one? Yes. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. These Grineer are like, what the hell was that? Oh, God. What's up, folks? Coming in like a wrecking ball. Oh, what the fuck? Are you on friends only? I'm on invite only, so just message me in game and I'd be happy to have you if we have space. I don't think this needs to be said to most of you, but if you don't have like an amp, please don't say can I join for these things. Not that that has happened before, but just like in general. It is hurtful to the people that are trying to get lots of rewards if people that like have no DPS join. So please don't do that. Just as a PSA. That hasn't been a problem for me, but yeah, China's Umbra is something different. That's a promotional thing. What's this Rhino Prime shaped crater doing here? What's up with all these dead Grineer around the crater? Oh, salmon. Salmon? You okay? How do you feel about Warframe abilities having synergies affecting each other? Maybe, but unless they do it on a broad scale, I don't know. Stefano, or Donnie McBride, I'm not quite sure this is the game for that, so to say. Like, I feel like this game already has ways in which abilities interact kind of like that, and I feel like that's sort of good enough for me. It would be cool if, like, sometimes there was, like, special things, but I don't think it's entirely necessary. By the way, folks that have been following me using Virtuous Tempo on my amp, you just saw it proc. I was shooting much faster. That's only with rank 3 too, so we'll go up a little bit. It's pretty nice. Let's try and get it again. Nope. Another Vom, another Vom. I want to show it. Oh, we have a Volt. Nice. I likes me a Volt. Rip my damage output. Rip my damage. Oh no, I might not have this up. Still rip my damage output. That's not that bad though. We do need a Trinity. That would be very nice, TJ Patty. Please. There we go. When I say that's a lot of damage, that's what I'm looking for. Come on. Show me your arm, my dude. Is it true that you have to guild the moat amp before you can get mastery from it? Yes. Ooh, they might have changed it actually. I kind of forget. I sort of forget, to be honest with you. They may have changed that, but I know that used to be the case anyway. There we go. There's Virtuous Tempo. Unload faster. Nice. Look at that dips. Look at those dips. Look at that cleave. Ooh, burned it right through its shields. That's spicy. That's why we have the that's why we have that increased energy capacity too. Nice. No, JJ Biggie, he knows. Salmon's game is having like glitchy problems. But Salmon, we're full now. We'll have to try again. We should figure out what's... You and I should just like go into a game on our own at some point and like try to figure out what's wrong. Because you keep wanting to play with me and it never works for some reason. Ow. Out. Friggin'. Line of sight problems, folks. Oh, healing phase. Get that healing phase. Look at that, burning that off smooth as silk. That's the beauty of it, because you can kill the little bombs healing it up, and then you get the attack speed buff from killing the bombs, and then you can burn off the shields that it got. Super, super beautiful. All going according to Keikaku. Move your friggin' Terrorist. I've got a bone to pick with you, my dude. What does gilding do for amps? It gives them extra stats and generally makes them better. And it also allows you to get mastery from them unless they change that, which they might have. I kind of forget. Big Green, I would Void Dash back to the Eidolon. I've been doing this for a while now. I don't really need to be suggested that. It's just that sometimes I want to gain energy or like establish some damage or snipe it from range. There are other reasons not to do that. We have one coming. Far away. Should probably get another lure faster. I'm gonna go grab another one. Let's see what camps we got nearby. Probably go up here. Hey folks. Got a lure from me? They're like, who's this guy? We didn't invite you to the company picnic. Didn't you though? Delicious. Pretty sure I got mastery from Zaws and amps I didn't guild. Yeah, Gukas, I was thinking that they might have changed it at some point. I think it was like that at some point, but they may have changed it. So I don't know. I cannot be a reliable source of information about that, unfortunately. Let's check this. Oh. They are good to go. Like, not that I don't think it's good overall, but like there is a lot of clutter in these fights. There are a lot of things that get in your way, even if you should theoretically be shooting right on target. It irritates me a bit. Folks, what are you doing? Laying around over here. Have you tested the new Cycron? I wouldn't say it's a beast now, but it's definitely good. Before it was not good, now it is pretty alright. Yeah. It's pretty nice, overall. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Volt Shield. Could... Amp, do you... I mean, Lure, do you mind? Literally, do you mind? Yeah, almost all beam weapons are just monsters now, that's true. Combat looting. Which do you prefer, the open world areas or auto-generated closed maps? I don't prefer either. I like both. as someone who doesn't really have favorites and kind of just likes lots of things, and as someone who dates multiple people because they can really love multiple people, I am the type of person who does not really prefer one or the other. I would like both. I had a funny question from Zelp. Y'all know. Okay, Lure, like, are you serious right now? Y'all know Zelp, Warframe partner Zelp. He asked me a cool, an interesting question a little while ago. He said, "Okay, I understand that you like multiple people, you know, but if everyone was gonna fall off a cliff and you had to save one person, what would you do?" And I said I would jump off the cliff. I would not be able to decide. Because from my point of view, it would be like, to me, that's like my partners that I love are dying. Like, no matter who I save, somebody that I love more than anyone in the world, except my other partners who I love more than anyone in the world, like, is dying. So there's nothing I can do, and it would be mortal sadness for me. Now, I was sort of kidding, you know, the circumstances would never be like that, but as an example. But yeah, that was the fourth part. Let's locate some haters. The multi-hits are lit now. With the, could you maybe not be in... Okay. Literally the amount of things that are, like, in your way during these fights is just, like, beginning to get on my nerves a little bit. Whoa. Oh. Oh. That was, now that's a lot of damage. Now that's a lot of damage. Have you had a chance to test Act Jagra yet? I don't own the Act Jagra. I'm actually working on building it right now. Last night's stream, I decided to build it. Wish I could go outside and yell at those people and tell them to stop honking while I'm trying to stream. It's so inconsiderate. Like, literally, it's a seafood business, and instead of, like, actually getting a hold of each other, they just, like, loudly honk every single day when the shipment has come, instead of actually communicating. It's like, you know, there are other people in the world besides you that would be annoyed by you honking really loudly while they're trying to, like, record or live their life or be on their lunch break, or maybe people would think there was something wrong while they were driving, and, you know, that would be dangerous. No, it's not for these people. And it's particularly egregious because here in Burlington, Vermont, like, people are normally really considerate about that kind of stuff, so, like... Yeah, so, like, Gukas, what you said is kind of how Zelp worded it. He's like, well, what if you just had to? And I would do what Big Green said. Like, mostly, it's not for me to decide. Like, if I don't have a person I prefer, then I just, like, I have to say, yeah, drop the mate with the ultimatum immediately. Yeah, I was gonna say, kill the person giving the ultimatum. That's one thing. Epic combat. Yeah, man. What's your preferred Eidolon killing weapon? I don't really have one. Noah Anders, it used to be the Buzzlock, but I don't really have one at the moment. I've been testing out lots of things. Overall, I do like the experience of using snipers, but I don't really have a favorite. Again, I'm not a favorites person. Anytime you ask me if I have a favorite, you're pretty much always going to get the same answer, and the answer is going to be I don't. There isn't. I have not. I have not that thing that you have spoken of. How do you buff some of the other Sentinels in the game to make them more usable? Donnie, I believe that they are all in a good place overall, except for Death Machine. People don't use them because they're not open-minded, but which ones people use has nothing to do with which ones are good. People do not know what is good in this game, and they just use what other people say is good most of the time. That is how people do in pretty much every game, but it is it's a problem in Warframe too. In fact, I think it's less of a problem in Warframe than in most games, and the reason it seems worse is because Warframe is a game where it matters more, I guess is what I would say. So that's my feel about that. Death Machine, I actually don't know. That's a good question. But I actually think that the Kubrows need more balancing work than Sentinels do, because all the other Sentinels have a niche except for Death Machine, and the Kubrows, a lot of the Kubrows don't have a niche. So I think that they need more work than the Sentinels do. So I would probably do Kubrows instead. Lost Sun, there's not really anything to understand. I am in a serious, committed relationship with multiple people. Currently, I would say 2 people. My girlfriend Anna, who I live with here, and my partner Caitlin, who is currently in Massachusetts, which is not all that far away from me, but she's in kind of a transitional period of her life where she's figuring out like what job she's gonna do, where she's gonna go to grad school, and so I hope to live with her at some point, but at the moment it doesn't make sense. And our relationship is also just different. Like, she and I are I'm not as focused on spending a ton of time together, and are much more focused on like sharing things with each other. Whereas Anna and I really care about spending an enormous amount of time with Anna. I just have different priorities for those 2 relationships. The way I like the people is simply very different, and so I think both of them are to be called a relationship because that's what they're closest to, but they're still very different relationships overall. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't like both people. You know, like, why would you be with 2 people if they're the same? One of them is just going to be better at the thing you like, and the answer is that I like them for very different reasons. I didn't notice that the Axomati and the Dual Raza were Soma-like weapons. Yeah, I kind of wish they would play that up more. Like, I kind of wish they had, like, the same stats. Like, that would be really interesting to me. If, like, Axomati had, like, not similar, like, they do have similar stats, but, like, if the Axomati had, like, the same exact stats, with, you know, damage turned down a little because the base damage mod on pistols is stronger, but, like, you know, really similar like that, I think that'd be interesting. Oh god. No. My stream is overloading because of my macro. Okay. The dream is collapsing. See, Gookus, but like that's so close-minded. Like, that's just the normal way of interpreting it. Like, that's the way that we've that's the way that you've seen other people experience it. But like, everything about the situation looks the same as a normal relationship. The physical experience and the mental experience and the social experience and the everything is the same as what other people call a relationship. But you, but the dynamic is different. Yeah, Gookus, exactly. Like, that is not what defines a relationship, but for the purposes of argument, like, yeah, we do that. It's really irritating to me. I understand if you're just confused, but like, please just be a little more open-minded. Like, maybe it is not the thing that, like, even though it's like people say like, this is different, I do different things, and usually they're just full of crap and their situation is just like an overcomplicated version of some simple thing. There are actually people that do different things, you know? Like, there are people who have actually different situations. And people like me, who you consider to be a good source of information with nuanced opinions about stuff, maybe deserve a little bit more of a benefit of a doubt that what they are doing actually is different than the thing that you have come to know. Although I will say mostly people have been pretty able to understand when I've explained. That hasn't been a big problem. I swear you've explained this like 8 million times. Yeah, I have. It's true. I mean, but that's what happens, you know, like, if you're gonna have a different structure, like, we all, me and the people that I'm with, signed up for it being kind of complicated to explain, and that's totally fine. Like, that is okay. I don't like it when people just say, oh, but that must just be the same thing as everything else. Like, it's not really different, because nobody would do that. Like, nobody would actually think differently. That's not a thing that happens. You know, it must just be the same thing I'm familiar with. And it's like, well, actually, no, you know, most people that would be reasonable to think. But, like, if you think about me and what you know about me as a content creator, like, doesn't it kind of make sense? Like, the way I think, like, doesn't it just, like, intuitively you think to yourself, huh, like, I guess he does think that way about everything else, you know? But Gookus, I will say, it's not as though I don't sometimes worry, like, is the person really serious about it? Because it does make it more vague. It requires much more trust and comfort with the person, in my opinion, if you're going to do that. And it's not something that's for everyone, simply because it asks more of you as people that are comfortable with each other than do some other kinds of relationship structures. And it's about finding the structure that works for you, not about a better structure that is transcendent and, you know, is better in some ways. That's one of many reasons why I hate the word polyamory, for example. A lot of those people are kind of elitist about being with multiple people. It's not about being with multiple people. It's about being with the number of people that you like. And for a lot of people, that's one, so you should be with one person. At different times in my life, I like different numbers of people, and I am with those people if they are cool with it, because I can. And it is better to be with people if you can really love them, so I am. I don't know, Big Green. I also do think, though, that, like, a lot of life is black and white. Like, a lot of the way that people do things is black and white. So, like, it's hard to blame people for being like, but isn't that just this black and white thing? It's like, well, everything else is like that, so I can at least see where you're coming from, but, like, no. You know. Yes! Oh, wait, no, it's already got shields off. Okay. I was, like, excitedly doing my little synergy thing, and I was like, no, this terror list has no shields. Isn't that Mormon theology, though? Guardian Down, that has nothing to do with any... Mormonism is just a random ideology that people wanted to use to justify their desire to be married to multiple people. It has nothing to do with that. Mormonism dictates some sexism, and that it has to do with God, that it has to do with it being right, and none of that has anything to do with anything. That's all totally irrelevant and wrong. Religious judgment, for once, coming from Zandy. And kinda not okay in a way, because it isn't based on what people want. It's just based on what you're supposed to do, and that is irrelevant. Relationships are about what you want, and not about what you're supposed to do. They're about what you want. I'm really having trouble hitting the nodes. Maybe it was easier with the sniper rifle scope. I don't know. Are they allowed to see other people also? Why in the world would they not be? But again, it's not really about that. Like, it's not about being with other people. Like, I don't like hook up with other people because I don't like to. And the reason that people in my life feel like, oh, these are committed things that are committed, is because I'm very picky about the people I want to be with. There just happens to be more than one that I really do like, because I looked very hard for people that I care about. And because I am so active socially, despite being a relatively introverted and intimate person, I have found several people that I really, really do like, which is uncommon, but, you know, a thing that happens. Man, I gotta say, like, seriously, I like the challenge of shooting these things, but, like, a challenge it is. I need my sniper rifle back. Is Warframe related to science? That's a pretty vague question. What are the rewards for the raids since they're going away? Rhodes Gaming, the rewards were arcanes, but the arcanes are now on terror lists too, so don't worry about that. You can get some little cosmetic doohickeys, the little sigils for your shoulders, and you should totally do them once to get those if you want. But Jason Sampi, it's not really about defending my relationship status. It's just like, I want other people to understand, you know? Like, I don't really have anything to answer for. It's just like, I would be happy if people understood. And because I am a streamer and people follow me and listen to what I say, I have the opportunity to influence people's thoughts, which I am very interested in doing. So I take pleasure in it overall. It is just obviously sometimes that goes part and parcel with people being ignorant about it, which has mostly not been a problem for me. Yeah, but see, like, Gukas, it's not, like, men do not inherently have to like multiple women. There are plenty of people that do or do not, and there are plenty of women that do or do not. Please stop talking about there being, like, innate things about men and women. It's just not true. Like, there are genetic things, but those just get overridden by personal experience and preferences. It's not about that. And the people that I'm with also want to be with multiple people. Like, the way that I started being with Caitlyn, she initially said, like, I'm interested in, like, having a normal relationship structure with other people, but I like you, and I like having this type of dynamic with you, so let's do that as well. And I was like, I kind of feel like other people won't be down with that, but I'm down with that, so sure. And she's like, okay, well, let's do it. And, you know, I'll do that. Well, Gukas, I'm just saying, like, it's my stream, so I am gonna ask you not to say things that are not true as scientific fact. You can't just say, you can have your own opinions, but you can't word them as, like, you know, all men want to be with multiple people, which is why he is doing it that way. Like, that, no. Like, I can say that you can't say that. But yes, of course, you can think whatever you want about it. Did you do your magnetic thing yet? What? Where was the magnetic thing? Was it? Where's that magnetic explosion that, you know, always happens? There we go. Oh, I got the good angle. Anyway, the long topic of relationship stuff that is constantly brought up. I need to make a copy pasta about that, like just like a gigantic pasta that I can copy. You made me polyamorous with my sentinels. What? Is that what I did? Is polyamory part of this discussion? I think it's kind of not. Because again, like, polyamory is the practice of, like, being with multiple people, deliberately, specifically multiple people. And I don't care about that. I just want to be with the number of people that I like, which is sometimes one and sometimes greater than one. And if it's only one person, I don't really care. Like, it's not about that. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now we finally got a good angle. Yeah, Shadow, I saw you died a little while ago. Another one bites the dust. Oh, so close. Korra polyamory with cats. Yeah, Gukas, I'm looking forward to that. Like, the ability to use, like, multiple petos at the same time. I think that's actually going to be really powerful, like, depending. Or like a sentinel and a kavat, like, that could be very interesting. Okay, it is still doing the magnetic burst thing. Why didn't that happen before? Maybe I just didn't notice because of Iron Skin? Yeah, exactly. Like, Gray, it's exactly what you said. It's just like, I love the people in a way that is more than friendship, and that is why I'm with them. Whether or not you're being physical with them is not relevant. Unless it's relevant to your relationship. If that's what's important to you, then it is relevant. And if it's not, then it's not. That is not what makes it a relationship or not. And although I understand where Gukas is coming from in saying, like, that is for a normal person, it could be evidence that the person is just using you for emotional support. Like, that doesn't apply if the person has, like, nuanced relationships with their partners that are well communicated, and you can't just use that to invalidate what people are doing. Well, it depends on the person. Sometimes I suppose you could. But you'd have to really know the person to say that. It's not a valid argument in and of itself. They were saying that you wanted to be... They wanted us to be able to mod the Kavats separately from Korra herself. And from your other Kavats, I believe. Yeah, I think so. I certainly hope so. I think that's what would make it really interesting. Because then you could build a Kavat for, like, survivability and buffing, and then a Kavat for, like, raw damage, possibly. We might need a few more Sentinel mods for that, but... I always get rather confused at this stage. I find this is, like, a bit much clutter. Like, I don't know what's supposed to be reacted to. Did you have gender studies as a class in school? I did not, actually. But I took it as a separate course, something similar as a separate course in college a couple of years ago. No. Come with me, lures. Come with us. Okay, good. The lures are behind. Yeah, Helios is another one that I think people underestimate a lot, mostly because of the Deconstructor Prime damage, I think. The precepts on Helios, you know, it's nice to have utility of your Sentinel scanning stuff, but I think it's mostly the Helios's damage that is like a pretty big difference. Deconstructor Prime is quite strong. I want deeps. I need them. Where are my deeps? Ah. Okay. You're Canadian, right? I am. I guess from the United States. I do not know what nationality I natively am because I was adopted, and I do not know who my adopted father is, so I don't really know. I grew up in Massachusetts and like around Boston, so. Gugus, that's not really relevant to this conversation, but if you're interested, that is where I grew up. It's not relevant to my relationship status, but I did indeed grow up in Boston. Oh, you wanted to stand up? Ganchlis says no. Yeah, I know, right? I tried the gun build that you showed 2 to 3 days ago, and it was fun for 2 hours, but I use melee weapons the most because I like them more than guns, and bullet dance just isn't doing it for me. Yeah, I agree. Like, I think it's kind of tiring to use the gunblade strategy at the moment, like the way you use blade dance. It just like kind of wears me out a little bit. I don't know. It makes me tired. It's interesting and fun, but like it's a little bit like it takes a lot of effort. I feel like for like not that much of a reward. They need a step up. You know, again, the thing is, like, when they made the coding for gunblades, they probably didn't do the math that needed to be put in up front to like make them have the damage output they needed to have to be good. What's going on? Why you paused? Oh, we can still shoot the things, right? Yep. Okay, that's all that matters to me. Oh yeah, Gugus, as far as I know, the DNA I have that I know about is Irish, I think. My birth mother was Irish. So that part I know, but otherwise I have no idea. You were adopted, or you're not excited to know who your father is? No, family's completely meaningless. I have never been interested in who my birth father was, and I never will be. Family is irrelevant. I mean, you know, because I'm a naturally curious person, yeah, if I knew who the people were, I guess I'd be like a little interested just because I'm interested in like everything, you know? But family is not a reason to care about people. It's just an arbitrary grouping of people that has nothing to do with the people involved. That I do not care about. No, I'm not, I had my fire rate, but I wasn't close enough. Come back. Come back, turretless. 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 There we go. Okay. Hope it's doing this thing again. Ow. But to be fair, I probably got stepped on. That's kind of my fault. There we go. There we go. Right up the spine. See, there are times like this when I'm like, I kind of feel like I'm not registering hits for like no good reason. I don't quite know why. It might just be perspective. Like the shot actually is missing, but my perspective is off. Oh no, it's not healing phase. Gugus, I like that. Blood is not always thicker than water. Yeah, I mean, it depends who your family is. Like, again, I say families are irrelevant. Like, if your family's good, then it might be a good part of your life. If your family isn't good, then there's no reason to care about it. It's just an arbitrary grouping of people. It is as likely to be good as bad. So if it's good, then that's great, and if it's bad, then just ignore it. No good reason it should be meaningful. And my sympathies to you if you are forced to consider it meaningful. Oh, healing phase. Oh, it's already off. Nice. Good job, folks. On the ball. It's 4:30. Yes, we're going to switch to Twitch after this night cycle. That will require flickering the stream on and off, but you should only get like a tiny delay in experience, in your experience of, in your watching, in putting your eyeballs on something. Oh, hello, Combat Lou. Oh, 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 oh. Where are you? There we go. That's nice range, actually. It's not very good damage, like, overall on the Terror list compared to other options, but, Okay, also this Syandana is, like, blocking my view. Are you seeing that? Like, the Rapala is, like, in the way of me seeing the Synovia. Is that what they're called? Anyway. Twilight, welcome. I can't. Okay, I'm outside the circle now. Oh, there it is. Reached for it there. I'm already seeing traders selling Cycron Ribbons for 2K. That's insanity. It's not that good. It just has infinite ammo. It's not even that strong. Like, people are crazy. People are crazy. It's always interesting though to see like what the market does in this game, like when there are updates like this. Oh. Could any of the buff beam weapons be good in Eidolon Hunt? Yeah, I'm trying the Senoid Gammacore now, but I don't know. Depending on how insane the Synapse is, I could see that being good. I don't know, it's hard to say. But sniper rifles, I don't know, like, the DPS of a sniper rifle, if a target is surviving shots and you can get them consistently, is really high. Like, it's very hard to beat that. So I will say, perhaps not in that sense, but I heard the synapse damage is very high. Single target synapse damage is very high, so I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, my initial impulse is probably not, too. I would agree. But it's hard to say. Those are actually a lot of kind of small numbers. In very big text, but small numbers. Yeah, those are like, those numbers look really big, but like those numbers are like 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Like, not that big. If Cyclone Riven sell for 2 plat on the regular, I'm actually going to switch to Terra on principle. I know, right? Oh, it's charging. Ah. Let me hit your body. Terror list. There we go. Also, the Synapse's range is too short. That could be fixed. I think we could fix that. Well, I don't know, Gukas. I think it's interesting. So you're saying, like, my standard is mutual benefit. I feel like family slightly complicates that discussion because oftentimes a family is kind of mutual benefit in the sense that, like, the child in the family is, like, able to exist while they grow up and are useless because they have a family. And the adult is getting basically, like, wish fulfillment because they get to, like, vicariously live their child's life. The problem is that nobody got to choose. You know what I mean? I feel like the problem is that the no one gets to opt into it. You just have to do it. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as you're born into your family, you just must participate in that. For example, a relationship in which one partner, like a dating, like a supposedly love relationship, where one partner gets monetary support and the other partner gets sexual engagement or whatever, but the partners like cannot leave each other, like they had an arranged marriage and they can't leave or whatever, is not a good relationship, because it might be mutually beneficial, but no one got to you can't opt in or out, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people would intuitively agree that, like, if it's not voluntary, then it's not that good. So I think family's a weird example where, like, it's never voluntary, like, by definition it cannot be voluntary. And I think the counter-argument there is like, well, but you want it because it lets you exist while you are young and useless, you know, as a child. Yeah, but if you don't, you know. Anyway, I just think that's an interesting part of the discussion, what you said. And again, like, it does beg the question, like, I do think that relationships should be mutually beneficial in some way. Like, the way could be pretty vague. The way could be pretty vague, how the mutual benefit happens, and it should be opted into, and families can't be that, you know what I mean? So it's just interesting. But, and, you know, families can be coincidentally good too. Let's leave, because I doubt I doubt we have time for Hydro, so let's bang out. Peace, I had a real family. Being adopted has nothing to do with whether you had a real family or not. I have the opinion I have because the opinion makes sense. Like, the opinion I have doesn't have anything to do with my personal experience. I just think it because I think it makes sense. I just have reasons why I think it makes sense. No, I mean, Pixels, again, like, yes, a lot of the time it was just meant to be an example from my end. Like, a lot of the time arranged marriages are not a thing now, but they still exist in some parts of the world. They're still a thing in some parts of the world. Still a very meaningful thing in some parts of the world. But I only meant that as an example. You know, for a lot of the people in this conversation, that's not a part of their normal experience. Yeah, Peace, you know nothing about my life experience, and whether I was adopted or not has literally nothing to do with whether my family was real. And saying it's beautiful to see its own child growing is just an opinion. That's not a fact at all. I hate children, and I would never have a child, but that is just how I feel. And there are lots of people who find it the greatest joy in the world. And some people say it's the greatest joy in the world, but that's how they feel. Some people it probably really is, and they seem really passionate. Those people probably should have children, because they will be very good parents. So, why are we talking about family stuff? Just because of reasons. What else are we going to do while we kill the Terrorless? Talk about Terrorless mechanics? Like, it's a light show, and you have to hit the body parts through the light show. It's difficult, but there isn't that much to discuss. It's not super difficult, and there's not that much to discuss about it, so... Okay, so now that we are through the nighttime, let's see what arcanes we got. But we're going to swap over to Twitch. So what's going to happen is I'm going to send you a post. I'm going to send you a message in chat that that links to my Twitch, and then we're going to jump over to my Twitch. There will be a tiny delay. I'm hoping that... let's see... I'm going to try to make it fast enough that you'll see, but the stream delay could still cause it to be that if you click the link fast enough, I won't be live yet. So I'm going to put the link in chat when we're ready to switch over, yeah? And when you see it, don't click it immediately, or if you do click it immediately, like, refresh it after like 20 seconds or something, you know, because of stream delay. So that. So you've met two individuals who care deeply for you, and you feel deeply for them. I can't even meet one. Well, the thing is, Kymel, like, our culture is kind of not that fair to people looking for love, because there aren't that many social environments that let you freely search for people you would like. I spent a very, very large amount of my free time in college, like looking for people, like meeting people. Not really dating people, just literally talking to people, going on walks with people, just talking to people in class, passing notes and stuff, because I was afraid that when I left college, I would never be able to meet people again. And I'm happy I felt that way, because that's true. It's not very easy to like go out and meet people in the world, and the world was not designed properly to allow people the environment to meet people the way that they usually want to, which is why we have to resort to dating websites and stuff, which are fine. Like if you like that, that's fine. But you have to admit it's not exactly the ideal solution. And it would be good if that thing that everyone wants was, you know, baked into society because everyone wants it. But I guess we all just forgot. So that's how I feel. Yeah, I mean, well, no, Jason, it's true. Like, your point of view is shaped by your experience. I'm just saying, like, just because your experience could lead to that point of view doesn't mean that's why you have that point of view. Like, just because I had a slightly, barely non-traditional family situation, I have a very normal family. And I think different things than most people do about family. That doesn't mean that's why I think those things. Like, I might just have reasons I think those things. And saying they're invalid because your experiences could have led to that point of view is totally irrelevant. Like, what's relevant is what the person's reasons for thinking that are. And if they're valid, then it's valid. And if they're not, then they're not. So it's not, what I meant is it's not relevant to discussion, like whether or not they have that thing. Like, all you have to do is listen to why they think it, and if those are valid reasons, their point is valid, and if they're not, then it's not. So, that. Zandy, go to Twitch and then answer more questions. I will, but we're lagging out at this door. Why? Why would this door open? Let me out. How can I make the jump to Twitch when I am already here? My chat collator does both chats at once, so. I'm saying hi to Twitch. It should say hi to both. Why won't it let us leave? Let me out. Please. If it takes long enough, then we'll have to try leaving squad and extracting alone. You know, I say that, but I don't exactly crave or desire a relationship. Yeah, I mean, it's just not some people's priority. Like, that's fine. You're bugged, Alt F4. Yeah. Yeah. But we're gonna do the leave squad thing. So I'm gonna leave squad and extract alone. Hopefully that will still get us rewards instead of it, like, destroying all of our stuff. Arcane Nullifier, Arcane Agility. Isn't Arcane Agility kind of good? I forget what they all do. Let's take a look. Also, didn't they change some of them? Anyway. IOXH, we're not switched over yet. I'm gonna switch over when there's gameplay on the screen so that the stream does better for SEO reasons. On damage, 12% chance for 40%. Ooh. That's weird. I didn't know that existed. That's very strange. You go fast when you take damage. That's funny. Arcane Nullifier is the thing that makes you not get magnetic procs, right? Oh, okay. Ugh. Ugh. Gross. It worked. I know. I still got items. Hooray. Okay, so I'm going to swap, and we will keep answering questions. So I'm about to post the link in chat. Swap to Twitch here. But keep in mind that there might be a 15-second delay between streams, so be ready to refresh and look for me in chat. Okay, ready? Post.